And I had the type 2 diabetes. I had all these diseases. I had the heart disease. I had the blood pressure. This is going back 15 years ago. And here I'm a lot older. And then I was on over 10 medications for them. And today I'm on 0, 0, 0 medications. No medications. And everything is normal, because the problem is, and people don't realize, is the crazy foods we have in our society. But a lot of us here, it's all about the binge eating. The ego says, I got a great idea. I'll eat all this food. I'll be happy, joyous. It's like, would you put bad gas into your car? You put, say, jet fuel in your car and it sputters and it gets crazy. That's what we're doing to food. It's, we have to realize we have these corporations selling us this craziness and brainwashing us, into this false thinking that life is about food. We eat to live, not living just to eat. That's what we do. We live just to eat. And that's what the commercials tell us. Life is all about, you watch the commercials about the food and the songs they play. And I always bring up the water. This alone will be the revolutionary change in thinking. That change where we want the clarity, God's clarity. When we were little children, most drank water until we were stuffed in with all of this crazy sugary foods that we were brought up with in today's society. But water is so, when we get back to nature and God's gift of water, you know how many calories a week this will save alone? And then I have here God's gift of an apple and an orange. It's pretty amazing. Any kind of fruit is amazing. You know how many vitamins and micronutrients these have? 10 times, million times more than the synthetic stuff, and the fiber and the healthiness of it. But also, for us sugar addicts out there, right? A lot of people say they're sugar addicts and compulsive eaters, whatever it is. For sugar addicts, that the amount of sugar here is great. But it also is released in the body slowly and has a lot of fiber in it. It's very, very healthy. It's amazing. I could go into detail on all of this. Again, my trade, I'm a registered pharmacist, and all of these things and how it interacts with the body. And a lot of things we're told really aren't true when they say that all of these carbohydrates and stuff, things from God could be bad for us. And a lot of times if I had a lot of those diseases and they went away, and I eat a lot of God's gift, even though some places say you're not supposed to eat those foods. So we don't know anymore the truth from the false, but we have to be restored to sanity. Even the big billion-dollar companies that diet companies, the Weight Watchers and all of those, Jenny Craig and all of these things, what they do is they tell you, I'll give you a smaller portion of this food with all the toxins and poison in it and all those crazy ingredients that the corporations put in there. And that's the way they want to resolve it. Either way, in the problem or solution, the problem is when I'm on a diet and saying, I got to resist all these things, I'm into the problem. The solution is, and it gives us in this program, is when I get centered, we have prayer meditation, start to realize that, my body's God's temple, and I want to eat things healthy, made from the earth, from God's nature. That's the 9-step promises. Well, it also says fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. I always say also, I'm Bob, and I'm a compulsive overeater, and I want people to like me. It's people controlling me from me trying to, if only the world, if I could manipulate and everything in the world, if I could control it, be the director, then life would be happy. Their life would be happy. My life would be great. All it did was, in the 10-step promises says, the first sentence, we have ceased fighting anyone or anything. I was trying to get my joy and happiness from things from outside of me, all of these things outside, and it never worked. Years ago, I spoke to this Hasidic rabbi who was into the Kabbalah. He says, go out and enjoy the world and the pleasures of it, but realize the falseness of it. That the real joy and happiness is never going to come from the world. We live in the world, but don't become part of it, right? Again, you pick up the packages, 50 ingredients in it, 49 of them are poisons. You say, what is my diet? I eat a whole food, plant-based diet, but the main thing is whatever diet you're on. I don't want to tell you what type of food to eat, what high carbohydrate, low carbohydrate, protein, whatever you want, keto, whatever it is. The whole thing is mainly it's what we put on the food. That's the problem. What we put on it. You can't go to any restaurant. They put the SOS, salt, oil, and sugar. Then it goes on to say, we react. It's going on to page 85. Sanely and normally, we will find that this will happen automatically. Through working these steps and working this program, automatically, through the answers are always in here. There's nothing anybody can teach us about diets, about how we should eat our food. It's already there. We have the hypothalamus. When we're centered, our brain knows exactly how much to eat or not eat. But when we're in self-centered fear, when we're trying to resist something, we don't even feel our stomachs anymore. It's tied up in a knot. We can't even feel when we're full. We can't feel the real reaction. We're back into addiction. When we get the remorse, shame, and guilt of what we did yesterday, somebody comes and says, well, I got to go to day one because yesterday I had some extra food or I had a bite of this or a bite of that. You're back into what's called the problem. It's like when I go to meetings and people would talk about their problems. It could be with the food or their mother-in-law. You know, my mother-in-law, they say that this happened, that happened, or somebody in my family, the boss at work. We're in the problem. The solution is when we get God-centered and have this higher consciousness, we start to realize that the real solution is that love, tolerance, and patience towards people, towards ourselves and our addictions, really knowing the true from the false. So, and it goes on to say here, in the 10-step promises on page 84, sanity will have returned. So how's your sanity? Do you realize everything we try, we try to do through reason? You know, it says in the big book, go from reason to the bridge of faith. Faith, amazing grace, God consciousness, which is in there all the time, intuitively, again, we'll know. So in order to get that, we get centered and relax and pray, and the whole world, we surrender, and the whole world surrenders to us. That's why we have to hit bottom when we come into these programs. We had to realize everything we did didn't work. But how many of us have been in this program for years and still trying to take our self-will back? So let's go back to the promises. What do promises mean? And it says, we will be restored to sanity. Doesn't that say everything? How insane our thinking is. If we are tempted, on the bottom of page 84 in the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book, we recoil from it as a hot flame. Before I couldn't recoil from it. I was resisting it, but yet the more I resist something, the more power I gave it. Now I have a new pair of glasses, as we always say on this meeting. Could see with clarity what that food is, a bad food, and then